dear students. So I welcome you in the lecture series of GATE 2020, and today we'll be going through the manufacturing section, and one of the not I can say it's not too much important, but it is important if GATE is concerned, right? So sheet metal. So we'll study today sheet metal. We'll go through the slides. I'll let you save through the sheet metal theory and some of the numericals and important concepts. So let's begin. So if you consider sheet metal, please somebody reply if you are able to listen me. Am I audible? Somebody please reply. Hello. 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 Okay. I can see the chat. No issue. Fine. So see sheet metal. What comes to your mind? Why it is required? So as far as casting and forging the production process is concerned, sheet metal is having a more versatile and lightweight products. Okay, so that is the beauty of sheet metal, and almost you can go with for all kinds of component from the sheet metal. So it can be cut, it can be bent, it can be stretched into nearly any kind of shape. So that is a beauty of the sheet metal, and that's why we have wide application. If you see, we consider it sheet metal in between 0.15 mm and up to 6.35 mm. So in some of the cases, in some questions, you may get dimension in terms of inch. So you must know how to convert the mm into inch and so on. So 0.006 is the lowest thickness can be considered in the sheet metal working, where highest will be 0.25 inch. And let's say if thin sheet you work on, it can be considered as a foil, and then thicker than 0.25 inch, it will be considered as a plate. So that is about the dimensions of the sheet metal that you will consider. Sheet metal thickness generally measured in gauges. And if you know, if you go to market and you want to purchase the sheet of any kind of metal, let's say steel or aluminum, so you'll ask the gauge. The supplier will ask the gauge. Greater the gauge number, thinner will the sheet for the metal. Okay, you need to remember this. Otherwise, these are these very preliminary concepts that you should know before solving the problem. Okay? So it will give you some idea about the numeric. Significant applications in sheet metal in automotive sectors. So all kind of automotive bodies and frames, the frames at our home appliances, then workplace or the office furniture. Commonly used material for the sheet is low carbon steel. Okay, you have to remember this, right? Low carbon steel is most of the cases it's used, and then aluminum is there. Okay, so why? Because it has a low cost and then strength and formability. It has a better formability. Okay, so that's why it is used in sheet metal. Regarding punch and die material, okay, you should know the raw material, that is the low carbon steel, and then what about the punch and die? So commonly used punch and die combination is tool steel. Okay, it is very commonly used, and then for high production, when there is there three shifts are there in the industry continuously, those are running for a particular manufacturing of the product, then that is a carbide. Okay, so tool steel, carbide, that is for the punch and die material, where low carbon steel, that is for the material. Okay, the sheet material. Then if you consider the aircrafts and aerospace components, some of the frames, then aluminum and titanium use. Okay, so I think you should remember these four materials, right? Commonly used material material, that is low carbon steel. Then for aerospace and aircrafts, aluminum and titanium. You may remember aluminum, but titanium don't forget. And then what about punch and die? So tool steel commonly used, and for high production it is carbons. Because based on that, in some cases, you know the flow stress equation, sigma is equal to K into epsilon raised to N. In that case, that N is important. So the material which is having the value is actually N value, strain hardening ratio exponent, that is 0 to 0.1, and based on that, ductility, it will vary. So you need to remember the material and then N values, those will be considered in the numerical. Okay, so we'll move ahead. Then generally two types of operations are performed in the sheet metal, that is cutting and forming. And then we have different operations, so you might have studied those operations in second year or first year. Okay, so we'll run through that also. So, but normally what is happening, there is cutting and forming. So cutting, when it is happening, that means what, you have to consider the stresses coming on the sheet metal, those are higher than ultimate strength of the sheet. Okay, so then only the cutting will take place, right? And then forming, when you form, that means what, there has to be permanent deformation, that's okay, but it should be the strength or the stress applied on the sheet should be lower than UTS, ultimate strength of the material. So this is the difference between cutting and forming operations. Got it? Cutting means what, 100% that stress or the strength of the material should exceed the ultimate UTS, ultimate strength of the material. And for forming, it is less than UTS but more than yield strength. Now, once you have a glimpse on the different operations performed on the sheet metal, so those are bending, shearing, blanking, punching, piercing, trimming, parting, slitting, lancing, notching, then perforating, nibbling, embossing, shaving, cut off, then tinking, that may be new for you, the coining, deep drawing, stretch forming, and roll forming. Okay, there are few certain important applications, operations, and then few are those are the subordinate operations. So if you see the bending, so this is a plate, right? And then there will be some bend. So normally student consider bend angle is here. Okay, if you see, I'm showing you here. Bend angle where you measure. What are the edges? Those are having bend. You have to consider the curvature here, and where the curvature is connecting to the straight line. From that point, you have to draw the perpendicular. Okay. So these lines are intersecting at such a point, and then that intersection of straight angle will be called as a bend angle. Okay. So you always consider bend angle here. Okay. In which direction is bent? So the inside this one. Okay. That will be a bend angle. It is required in certain applications that may it is again depend on the ductility of the material. Okay. So you may not get that much difficult numerical, but you should remember this is the bend angle. Okay. Then about the shearing operation. So this kind of extra part that you are shearing out. So this way it is shearing happening, and then remember there is a clearance. Always there is a clearance between lower die and upper die. Okay, so that clearance has to be calculated well, and then only the shearing process will happen. Okay. So next one is blanking and piercing. So the very basic difference you might know, should know. This is nothing but where you have the cut part desirable, that is called blanking, and when you have cut part that is you don't want it, it is undesirable for your applications, but you want a strip of the metal, then it is called piercing or punching. Okay, the cut part is required, then it is called blank. The blank may be circular one, it may be square, or it may be of any shape. It is a cut part from the sheet metal. Okay. Normally you understand this well before exam, but when you are appearing for the gate, and maybe suddenly you have experiences of the students, right? They suddenly forgot what is a blank and what is the punching operation. Okay, what is the cutout part and what is the required part, required strip or required parts. So on. Here piercing is this when you make holes or different cuts in the sheet metal. okay, where cutout parts are not required. Difference between punching and piercing is punching normally it is cutting the holes inside the plate, where piercing you can have different shapes other than holes. Means you can cut here triangle, let's say square, rectangle, or anything. Okay, the ellipse and all those kinds of cut you can make. That is called piercing. Especially punching means hole. Okay, but both are same in broader text. So blanking is this. Why this image I have shown you? Because you see this is a cut part. There's a blank is cut here, and on the cut part you can see there is a burr. Okay, this corner which is little bit deformed here. Okay, little bit deformed here is called burr. Then there has to be a fracture. Otherwise, see metal will not. I mean the sheet blank will not be generated. So there is a fracture, and fracture lines are like this. Okay, and then at the end you will see there is a deformation. That is a die roll. Okay, die roll is there. So why it's called die roll? Because there is a friction between die and the blank cut. So because of the higher friction, sometimes you will get this kind of roll. Okay. So this roll is coming most of the cases because there is no support uh, at the bottom of this strip. Okay, or this is a blank. The blank is getting cut. It's okay, but it is not having any support. It's simply getting cut and it is falling down. And that's why all the stresses are coming on the periphery of the blank, and that's why this kind of surface is generated. Later we have to finish it well, we have to make it straight, so it requires time again. Okay, so that is a normal blanking operation where you have fine blanking. Now in case of line blanking, what you do, it is clearly seen. See, so there is a here the holder. Okay, strip holder is the blue color one, and there is sufficient holding force also. So this also we need to calculate in some of the examples. Okay, so we have a strip holder, and then you go for the blanking of force. And now uh, after application of force, when you get a sharing, suddenly the bottom side of the blank is getting supported by cushion. Okay, so there is a cushion. This color you can see it's of cushion. So cushion is supporting the blank, and that's why whatever cut blank you get, it is having here straight line. Okay, this is the important point where you call this operation as a fine blanking. What is here? This technique produces a part with better flatness and smoother edges because of the cushion. Okay, cushion is here for supporting the blank. You must remember this because once you have cushion, you will get a better blank surface. I mean the periphery. Now there are simple operations like trimming. You must know trimming is this, right? So you cut out the unwanted part of the cup, let's say. Then there is a parting. There is a continuous flowing strip, and you are doing certain operations, but you cut complete strip. You make discontinuity here, so that is nothing but a parting operation. Then slitting is this. You have a sheet metal, and you cut in a straight line, and after cutting the straight line, you are lifting little bit. Okay, you are lifting it little bit here. Okay, so that is nothing but a slitting. Or sometimes you will have a slot like this, very small slot. Okay, this material may not be there. You just cut it. So it is called slitting. Now this one is called lancing, where you cut the metal in certain straight line or in curvature, but later after cutting you bend it. Okay, you bend it. For example, this stapler, and inside stapler there is a natural metallic spring inside it. Okay, so the inside stapler you will see this kind of structure. So that is for getting a bouncing effect for the upper half of the stapler. Okay, once you punch it. So next one is notching. Notching is cutting the sheet metal, but into different shapes, but at the edge. So considering the edge, you are cutting the any shape. So that is called notching. So this kind of notches are created. It's very simple. I'm just running through this slide. This is may not be important for us, but let's clear your mind about the sheet metal. These are the different operations that you have. Perforating is this, where you have a sheet metal and you have similar kinds of deformation or the cuts. Okay, you may have forming or cutting here of this kind of small portions, features, and especially those are at equal distance from each other. So one kind of pattern you will be getting. So that is nothing but sheet metal perforating operation. Now we'll see the cutoff operation. Cutoff operation is here, right? So cutoff operation means what? You will have a simple impression, so that once you press it little bit, the sheet metal part will be separated. Understood? So cutoff operation and parting operations are different in case of sheet metal. Cutoff operation is what? Just have some kind of impression, like you have a diary and there are certain pages of diary. Those are already having certain, small holes, right? So when you tear page from that, diary, it is automatically cut off from that line. Okay, so that is nothing but cutoff operation, right? So you might be clear. You should be clear now about parting and cutoff operation about the sheet metal. Then this is a nibbling. Nibbling is nothing but it is a kind of slitting operation where you cut this sheet metal in the straight line, and now here it is a little bit curvature. Okay, nibbling operation. Then shaving is here, like shearing operation. It is a shaving operation, but in case of shearing operation, you may cut a larger size of the sheet metal, but in case of shaving, only a small portion of sheet at the periphery it is cut, only at the periphery. Okay, so that is nothing but a shaving operation. Now embossing and coining operation. In this case, you have two dies moving towards each other, most of the cases, and in some cases only one die, upper die is moving. But here the die, in case of embossing, the upper die and lower die should have the same curvature. Okay, should have the same curvature, so that you will get some kind of impression. Now upper die is having, let's say, protruded portion. It is outside, where the lower die, it may have the cavity. Okay, or vice versa. That means what? The die curvatures will be on one side only. Okay, where in case of coining, let's say you can see this coin 2010. One side there is, our symbol of currency, and another side there is, this shape. So die shapes are different. Okay, and the material is getting squeezed in between. So this is nothing but a coining. Very less difference between the embossing and coining. Embossing, here you will have same curvature on both the die. Only one side is protruded and one side is having cavity. And in case of coining, you may have both side different portions, and the material is getting squeezed between this. That is coining. Now this is dinking. Now this is a specialized form tool. Okay, it's actually punching operation. So we know the forming tools. Forming tools are used for different special operation. Okay, so that's why this tool has to be designed, and it is nothing but a punching tool only. But it is this operation is performed on these soft metals, or sometimes plastics or rubbers. Okay, and what you get here, normally we support this plate with the wood material. Okay, so you can have this operation with the hand. Okay, or you may have the hammering effect, or sometimes it is this shank is connected to some machines part. Okay, or mechanical presses. So this is nothing but the dinking operation, kind of punching operation only, but a special designed tool, so that you can have different blanking or punching operations. Okay, that's all. And it is for soft materials only. Now drawing operation. So like I said, there has to be a holding strip, and then the sheet metal is getting drawn through the die, lower die. Okay, so this is a simple concept of the drawing operation. And later we have a deep drawing operation. We must know what is the difference between deep drawing and drawing, right? So it is having a relation between the diameter and length of the component, right? You should know this, right? So that is nothing but the deep drawing operation. Now, numericals that we come across is sometimes you need to make deep drawing component like this cup shape, and if this is the diameter and this is the length, then what is the requirement of the blank size? So this is a blank, and from this blank you are producing this kind of a deep drawing component, that is cup. Okay, so we have numerical of such kind where you can produce this is the raw material and this is the finished component. Next operation is stretch forming. So you might have studied this operation in the second year itself. There is a kind of a form press. Okay, this is a kind of die, or it is called form press. So it is having certain shape. So because as it is moving up, so and let's say the strip is connected between two jaws firmly, the strip is getting deformed, and as it is getting deformed upward, these two carriages, the holding points are lowering down in angle. Those are lowering down in angle. So you are pulling it down and you are pushing this ram upward. So based on that, the sheet metal will be deformed. It is called stretch forming. Okay. And then most important and then interesting, that is nothing but a roll forming. So it's for higher. This is for a small industry. The big machineries, big industries are producing the raw material for small industries. Here, this kind of sheets are prepared in rolls. So here you can see roll station 1, roll station 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. So based on that, you see there is a decrease in the. There should be actually. It is not seen in the figure, but there should be a decrease in the width, and there is will be increasing the width length and decreasing the width, right? And then as rollers are giving shape to the sheet, finally you get a product here, and then there is a particle operation. Okay? So you see this kind of deformation is happening. So at every stage, the ductility and the deformation, amount of deformation or the reduction in size, that is calculated. You may come across this kind of engaging. Then types of dies. I'll go fast here. So normally you must know the working of the 4 dies. One is a simple die, another is compound die, then combination die, and progressive die. Okay. So by now you are in final year, you must know why dies are used. You know die material. I already said what is the common die material is used here. So the simple die, compound die, and combination die, along with the progressive die, there is a small difference, and only you should remember difference for the gate examination. Okay. So a simple die, let's say the structure is like this. Okay, there is a punch, there is a sheet metal, there is a die, lower base, and all. So here, in case of simple die, one operation is happening at one stroke. Okay. So simple die, single action die perform single operation each stroke. Okay. So that is one key point to remember. Then in case of combination die, here more than one operations are happening at a single stroke, okay, or at a single station. So there is some workstation here, and there may be multiple operations happening at one stage. Okay. So single die means what? One operation at one stroke or one station. Combination means what? There is more than one operations. Okay, maybe blanking and punching. Okay, both operations at a single station. So that is nothing but a combination die. Then compound die is like 2 or more operations may be performed at one station. Okay, let me check. I'm missing something. Okay. So, but here these dies are considered as a cutting tool dies. Okay. Only cutting operations will be performed. So you must remember no forming operation for a compound die. This is very most critical point. I mean, you must understand. In case of compound die, though there are more than 2 operations are happening at a station, but both are of those are of cutting style. Punching, piercing, okay, those perforating and all, those are cutting operations, where forming, squeezing, embossing, those are forming operations. metal forming, bending and all. Those are forming operations. So no forming operation at the compound die. Okay, you must remember this point. Then progressive die. So progressive die has a series of operations. Okay, sheet metal is moving like this through the conveyors, and then there will be series of operations. Like here, you can produce this kind of washer. Let's see, you have the blank preparation, and then punch is also there. Okay, so this is nothing but the progressive die. So at each station, an operation is performed on the workpiece during the stroke. Okay. Here there is one operation, here is another operation, there may be ahead one more station, another operation, but it is a continuous, progressive. And then best example you can see here, this is a, it's a factory automation, and where you can see this is simulation. Three different, stations here, I mean in the die. So here is one, here punching is happening, and you can see the products, raw material, I mean undesirable parts, okay, here. So there is a punching operation, and then you will have another punching operation, and at the same time here this kind of cut, okay, C cut, it is prepared here, and then at the last you will have small center middle punch, and it is getting bent and cut simultaneously. So this, if you see, if you zoom in your mobile, you can see here this one is the bend and cut, okay, final part of operation. So it is called progressive die. Now next we'll move with the some important concept of the sheet metal that may be asked in the GATE examinations. This was a theoretical part which should be known before going for the numerical set. So this is a clearance, and what is clearance now? So when die opening is larger than the punch, that is known as clearance. So, right? So die opening should be always greater than punch. Otherwise, there will not be any operation, right? It will be stuck in somewhere. And why there is a completion operation? Because of clearance only. So as clearance is there, then only there is some kind of operation. Otherwise, simply forming will take place. So clearance may be determined with an equation. So I think you should note down some of the points, okay? And this is maybe second or third point. Must note down. That is clearance. Clearance is 0.0032 times of thickness of the sheet metal and square root of the strength of the material. So tau is the shear strength of the material, Newton per mm square. Sometimes it is given in MPa. So you must convert the unit. So you by the time you are in B, so I expect that MPa and Newton per meter square is same to understand that, right? So this is nothing but the clearance. And now what is the total clearance between the punch and die? As it is, normally punch and die are circular one, it's a 3D one. So you consider C is a clearance is a twice C, 2 times of the clearance. So you can measure here clearance by this equation, one side, and then into 2. So you will consider total clearance. Okay. With this figure, you must understand the difference between punching and blanking operation. Okay. By the time you understand, I know that punching is what it is making holes, and blanking is what it is making holes, but the cut part is nothing but the desirable part. So that is blanking. It's okay. But what about the clearance? Now see, the clearance here in case of punching. So in case of punching, what you must understand is punch is a correct size. Okay. Remember, in punching, punch is of correct size. Correct size means what? Punch should be of size of hole. So whatever hole you are preparing, for example, 20 mm hole you have to make in manufacturing. So that means what? Your punch should be of 20 mm diameter, because that is a punching operation, not the blanking operation. You must understand this. In case of blanking, let's say if you are performing, you are cutting, let's say 20 centimeter diameter blank, that means what? In blanking, die size should be correct, or a die size. This is a sentence, okay, the metrological sentence. In metrology, normally you use this kind of sentence. Die size is equal to, die size is correct. That means what? Die size is equal to size of the product, size of the blank. Let's say I am taking example, let's say a 20 centimeter die, circular die you are, blank you are preparing. That means what? Die size should be of 20 centimeter. Okay, this should be 20 centimeter. And with this, the punch size will change. So here you will clearly understand. Anyway, you know the clearance formula, 0.0032 times T into under root tau. Okay, but what about clearance? How it is considered in punch and blanking, so that you remember. So in case of punching, the punch should be of a size of hole, and that's why the die size becomes punch size plus twice of clearance. So here you can see this is the punch size, punch diameter here, and it should be equal to the hole that you want to cut. But that way the clearance should be larger. I mean the die should be larger. Die is equal to punch plus twice clearance. And in case of blanking, if you want a blank to be cut of 20 centimeter, that means what? Blanks, the die size should be of 20 centimeter, but then punch size should be less by 2 clearance, twice clearance. So punch is equal to then die size minus twice of clearance. Okay, this is very important. Okay, this slide is very important. You must remember. Okay, you will get 1 mark or 2 more numerical, but you may lose here. Okay, then a simple example we'll take. What we can do, we will take numericals in next session, because there is too much theory that I have to cover. We'll take numerical later, but for time being, you let's say, let me know whether you are understanding or not. A simple numerical of 1 mark for GATE. It has been, I think, for 2012 or 13 it was there. So see, determine the die and punch sizes for blanking now. A circular disc of 20 mm diameter for a sheet whose thickness is 1.5 mm, and shear strength for the sheet metal is 294 MPa. So what you say, I'll suggest whenever you are solving numericals for any subject, you try to break the sentence. Okay, try to break the sentence and understand the concept earlier. Okay, though it's numerical, but try to connect your theoretical concept always. Okay, so what is here? Determine die and punch sizes for blanking operation. So here you must understand it is a blanking operation, underline here. Okay, this is a blanking operation where what is the size of blank that has to be prepared? It is 20 mm diameter. Okay, 20 mm diameter from a sheet whose thickness T is given, and the tau is given 294 MPa. And what is the 20 mm diameter? It is a blanking circular disc. So blank size is given. And what do you know in case of blanking? What do you know in case of blanking? The die size should be of blank, right? So to determine die size, die and punch size means what? One answer you got already. Die size is what? 20 mm. This is the die size, because this is a blanking operation. If it was the punching operation, then in case of that way, you will see 20 mm is that could have been the punch size. But here it is a blanking operation. You are producing blank, circular blank of 20 mm diameter. So die size is 20 mm, and then punch will be calculated based on this. So you have to calculate here clearance first. C is equal to 0.0032 times T into under root tau. Okay. So I think I have given answer here somewhere. Yes, size of die is 20 mm, and you'll see this size of punch like this. Die minus 2 times of clearance, size of die. Okay, so 20 minus 2 times of clearance. Clearance is calculated like this. This is a value for clearance, that formula. So 0.0823, and then you'll get 19.83. So there were 2 options, 15 and 90, 20 and something, A, B, C, D, right? So you have to pick well. In GATE exam, it is like not like our normal casual exam of multiple choice question. Here, the answers will be very close, right? So you should have more and more practice. After studying, after any or attending any lecture of GATE, you should practice on that taught part or the learned part. So punching force, now through here I'll go little fast. So you have to note down little bit this important formulas. Okay, so I have collected all important formulas here. Yet most of the part is uncovered in this today's lecture. We'll see that on some other day. Punching force and blanking force. So here maximum force that can be calculated as LT tau. Okay, so the punching force of the holes, next equation, punching force for the holes that are smaller than the stock thickness may be estimated as follows. Okay, what is the meaning of this? The punching force for holes which are that are smaller than stock thickness. That means T is there. There is a stock thickness, but you are going to punch it a little bit for smaller thickness. Little compared to, I mean, you are not making throughout holes most of the case. In that case, F max is equal to pi dt sigma. This is 3. If you can see clearly, this is a blur because I have just copied and pasted this equation here. This is the cube root of d by t. Okay, F max is equal to pi dt sigma under divided by cube root of d by t. Okay, that is about punching force and blanking force. Then capacity of press for punching and blanking. Okay, so you should know force is required to evaluate the capacity of every press. So force is equal into C is nothing but a capacity of press. So and then C is some constant which is normally in between 1.1 to 1.75, and that is depend on the profile. Okay, what kind of profile you use for cutting. Okay, so that is about the press cutting. You should note down some of the equations. You note down. Now, if you want to find out what should be the minimum diameter of for piercing, then by the that minimization equation or maximization equations, that principle, you are equating this piercing pressure and then strength of the punch. Okay, so piercing pressure, that is tau s pi dt, that you are equating with the sigma c pi by 4 d square. Okay, by this way you will come to know the unknowns. Okay, so when there is a requirement of minimum diameter. Now, this kind of questions are asked in GATE and as well as IES exams. You must know what are the things given here. Estimate the blanking force to cut the blank of 25 mm wide and 30 mm long from a 1.5 mm thick metal strip, right? So 25 mm wide and 30 mm long metal strip is given, and it is having the thickness 1.5 mm. If ultimate shear strength of the metal is 450 Newton per meter square per mm square, then you have to estimate the blanking force. Also determine the work done. If percentage penetration, this is important concept. Okay, percentage penetration is 25% of the material thickness. So here, what is asked you at the second stage, you need to find out what is the work done. If percentage penetration in the workpiece is 25%. Interesting, right? So that way you need to understand the numerical and then cope with the theoretical part and figure out the equations. So I'll suggest again, whenever you study any syllabus, you have to make separate noting of the concept in terms of drawing and separate noting of the formulae. Okay, separate on the separate pages you should write the formulae and then remember well before the examination. So this is for homework. We will take it on some other day, or you just solve and send. Next one is shear on the punch. So shear, we are giving shear on the punch or die in order to reduce the shearing force. Now you are giving shear means what? Basically, the punch or die, we are grinding at certain inclination. Shear is ground. That means what? We are grinding at certain, we are finishing it at certain inclination. We are making it sharp in order to reduce the shear force. Okay. So once shear force is reduced, there will be easy cutting of the sheet metal, and then we want the mass production also. So that's why we required calculated shear on the punch and die. So it will distribute the cutting action over the period of time, right? Like I said, over a period of time, it is considered, because there is a wear also on die and punch. So what is the life of that? That also we have to decide. Like in metal cutting, you consider the tool life. So here also there is a life of the die and punch, depending on the shearing force. Okay, the shear only reduces the maximum force, but the total work done remains constant. You must not forget this thermodynamical concept. Okay, total work done remains constant. Total energy remains constant, like this. So, and though you are grinding the shear on the tool or I mean punch or die, force is reduced, but work done remains constant. So this way you have to equate the work done before the process and after the process. Okay. So here, you see there is a punch with a flat edge, okay? And then when you are punching it, it is deformed like this. And as it is deformed like this, you will see the shearing force at the corners of this, the die, okay? That is maximum. You see the graph, because there is no shear, in fact zero shear, right? And now if you are giving here, I mean, I cannot say technically it is zero shear is here, okay, shearing is here, but on the punch we have not provided shear, right? So here on this side, okay, on this punch we have provided certain shear angle. We have grounded this punch side, okay, and that's why there is sharp corner and this portion. So friction will be less. Okay, when you are shearing this plate, friction will be less at the shear zone, and then there is this kind of shearing. So you'll see the force plot like this. Initially, it is zero when there is shear, and then when as the plate is connecting to the flat surface or inclined surface of the punch, there is increase of the force, and then again it is decreasing. Okay, because of the slope. So this is important, and that's why you should calculate well the shear angle or the shear on the die and punch. The force required with the shear on the punch. So this is the formula. So if you want to calculate the force, then it is nothing but the maximum force, and you know maximum force how it is calculated, right? That is formula. Let me show you here. LT tau. Okay. The maximum force into T into P, and then divided by S. Now what is here? This P stands for the penetration of punch in the fraction. Fraction means it is a percentage actually. So percentage of penetration of punch, that is there, divided by shear on the punch or die. So this is a value that you need to divide with the maximum force and this product. So you will get the force required with the shear on the punch. I hope you are noting it down, or you must understand at least. Then we'll solve numerical on some other day, maybe next session. Energy and power for punching and blanking. So you'll see here the idle energy. Okay, this is related to previous numerical that I asked you to do some homework on that. So energy and power for punching and blanking. So idle energy E in terms of joule can be calculated as maximum force into punch travel. So F max into P into T. Now P into T, that you know, P is what? It's a percentage of penetration. Okay, percentage of penetration that is required. So in the previous numerical, it was asked 25% of penetration, right? So that you have to consider penetration of percentage 0.25, right? So that way into T. T is the thickness of the metal strip. So here you need to remember this line, at least here for the unit sec, that F max in kilojoule and should be in mm then. Okay. Otherwise, if you are considering F in joule, then it should be in meter. Okay, this small concept you must remember, otherwise you will lose marks. You will calculate, but you will not get the correct answer, right? So remember this unit conversion. Then idle power. This is idle energy, right? The idle power in press, power in watt. So energy E, idle energy E into N. N is actual number of stroke per minute divided by 60. That's why divided by 60 is there. Okay. So here you are calculating watt. ideal power in the press. Then actual energy. So it is in terms of joule. So F max, you always remember we required force to calculate the energy, right? So force into the penetration, percentage of penetration, into thickness, into C. And like I said, C is the constant which depend on the profile and normally varies from 1.1 to 1.7. This value will be given, no doubt, but we'll see. If I come across certain data book, I'll share you. Okay. So this is depend on certain material and the profile also. Okay, 1.1 to 1.75, and sometimes in the numerical it will be given. So actual energy you find out based on the ideal power and then ideal energy. Actual power, right? Then you must go with the actual power because we are interested in the power press, power out press. So that is E into N divided by 60 into efficiency. So you know the earlier terms, that is energy is here. This is number of strokes per minute, and then efficiency. Okay, the efficiency is here. Efficiency of the press will be mentioned in the numerical. So that was about the energy or work done by the press. Then elastic recovery or spring back. This is theoretical concept. You must know. What is it? The total deformation is equal to elastic deformation plus plastic deformation, as usual, right? But see, at the end of metal working operations, what is happening when pressure is released, there is elastic recovery, okay, and then total deformation will get reduced little. So this phenomenon is called spring back. So in case of, let's say, consider the famous operation, like let's say V bend, okay. So V-shaped die is there, and then there is a metal strip, and then a V-shaped punch is there. So it is deforming the sheet metal. It is getting that angle when it is inside the die, but as soon as you release the load or the punch, then there will be little deformation. That is called spring back. Okay? So you want angle, let's say 45, but later after operation you will see the angle is made 35 or something. So that is because of the spring back, and that's why you need to consider different tolerances, and that way you have to design the punch and die. So more important in cold working, this is happening in cold working processes. Okay? More important in cold working processes. So depend on the yield strength, higher the yield strength, greater will be the spring back. Okay, so this is the relation. Okay, this I mean showing you the theoretical concept and all, but those are very important. You should note down certain important facts and numerical equations. Higher the yield strength, it may be asked in some small exams or maybe 1 mark questions. Higher the yield strength, greater will be the spring back. So yield strength, if for certain sheet metal is high, then you come across the higher or greater spring back effect. In that case, you need to compensate well based on design of the die and the punch. To compensate this, the cold deformation be carried out beyond desirable limit by an amount equal to spring back. So that spring back you have to check with the earlier series of experiments, and then that value you have to keep in mind, and based on that you will go for the extra cold deformation. Okay, cold working, extra cold working, extra deformation, and then that will be eliminated. That okay. Now we will come to the punching presses. So we'll see only this figure, and then we'll see what are the important elements here. So you see, this is a ram, okay, and this is a punch. Sometimes the punch is connected to punch plate also. There is a one more plate will be there for in some applications where the punch is connected to punch plate, and if you want, you can remove it and you can connect different punch. The punch plate will be there. This is a stripper. Okay, so stripper is you can see it is connected here. Okay, it is actually screwed or let's say bolted to the die, and it is held from the strip. Okay. So the strip purpose is what? It will not allow the sheet metal to lift when punch is going up. Okay. So that is a metallic strip. You can see this is our material, and this is a, let's say, blank is cut. So blank falling through the die and blister strip. Now where is the bluster state? Here. So that bluster plate is here. One, second, and third, just below to the sheet metal. Okay, there is a bluster state. It is shown here. Bluster state. So you will see here it is one. Okay, but maybe they have connected here with the screw. That's why they are not showing it here. So bluster plate is, you consider it is the maximum higher volume portion, the larger volume portion below the die, lower die. This is a lower die, and this plate is bluster plate. So its main purpose is to sustain the vibration and wear. Okay, so we'll see. So it is, yeah, it's there. So bluster plate. So when many dies are to run in the same press, right? So there is a press machine, and you go for certain production. Let's say you manufactures thousands of component, let's say washers, and now you don't want a washer, but you want certain pockets or the square cut in the plate. So you replace the die. Okay, you simply throw away this the washer die, and you replace it with the another die. So in that case, again, you manufacture 1,000 or 10,000. In that case, the wear occurring on the press bed, and that's why the bluster plate is it is a bluster. Okay. Bluster plate is incorporated to this wear. So it is relatively cheap and easy to replace, right? And it is attached to the press bed, and then die shoe is attached to the it. Okay. So first it is connected to a press bed, and then die shoe is connected. So that is a kind of this is a the step in the assembly. The stripper. So stripper removes the stock from the punch after a piercing or blanking operation. Okay. Stripper removes the stock from the punch after piercing or blanking operation. So stripper, it will not allow to stick the stock the punch. Okay, it will remove. So it is having also force. The stripping force is equal to KLT. Stripping force is equal to KLT. So K into N. Sorry. I forgot. K into L into T. So the L is perimeter of the cut, and T is the stock thickness. Now K is some constant which is depend on the material. So stripping constant K 0.0103, that is for low carbon steel thinner than 1.5 mm with the cut at the edge of, then 0.0145 for the same material but for other cuts, then 0.027 for low carbon steel above 1.5 mm thickness, and then 0.0241 for harder material, and then that way you can calculate the stripping force. Now about drawing, I'll just read this slide. Call is coming. Drawing operations. So that is about drawing operation. Plastic deformation. Flat sheet or the plate is formed dimension part with a depth more than several times of its measurement. Important in terms of D. Okay, so blank size, you need to find out blank size. Like I said, you need to get this kind of shape, but for this you require the raw material of certain diameter. So D is equal to under root d square, small d square plus 4 times of dh. 4 times of dh. So when you will see this is a condition when the small d is less, it is greater than 20 times of r. Okay, 20 times of r. So in that case, and see, don't worry about this because normally we use this equation. So though it is given for your understanding, but if it comes in rating examination, you directly use this equation. D is equal to under root small d square plus 4dh. And what is small d? It is this cup diameter. Okay, h is the height. So only these two dimensions you require, and then you can find out what is the blank size. It is approximately. It is very difficult to calculate accurate D. Okay, that's why we are using this approximate equation, but it is most commonly used everywhere in the industry also. So in that case, what is the blank force then? Sorry, a drawing force then. So P is equal to pi d ts. Okay, under root, sorry, in bracket d by d, small capital D by small d minus c. C is that constant, right? So these parameters already we know what are these S, D, P, D, and C is the constant, right? Then blank holding force. The holding force is required, and that is depend on the wrinkling tendency of the cup. Now, what is wrinkling? Say it is actually kind of defect, and when the sheet metal is deforming, it is supposed to wrinkle. So you might have seen some of the utensils in your home that it is having certain different shapes like flower and all curvature, different curvatures. Those are nothing but wrinkles. Okay, and normally at the bend sections when there is a curvature you will see the wrinkles. Okay? So depending on the holding force and then wrinkling tendency, the holding force can be different, can be calculated. The maximum limit is generally to be 1/3 of the drawing force. See, that is also it is approximate, but we have the series of experiments and we have found out that it should be 1/3 of the drawing force. So you must enumerate it. The blank holding force is equal to 1/3 of the drawing force. Then drawing clearance. So punch diameter is equal to die opening diameter minus 2.5 times of T. So you remember what is it? This draw clearance is different than the normal sheet metal working clearance for blanking and punching. Understood? So punch diameter here, punch is equal to die opening diameter minus 2.5 times of T. Here it was 2 times of C. Okay, so I hope you are attending the lecture well. So this way you will clear the difference between the drawing operation, punching operation, and blanking operation. This equation is important. Now, next step to the drawing is deep drawing, right? So drawing when cup height is more than half the diameter is termed as deep drawing, right? When the cup height, this right? The cup height is more than half the diameter, that is called deep drawing. It is easy with the ductile materials always, right? So you have to use more ductile materials here. Due to radial flow of the material, the side walls increase in the thickness as the height is increased. Okay? So that is simply theoretical understanding this way. The radial flow material is happening because of the punch operations, and then side walls increase in the with a flat bottom can be, so a cylindrical vessel with a flat bottom can be deep drawn by double action deep drawing. And deep drawing is a combination of drawing and stretching. You always consider, it may be asked, right, deep drawing, what is it? The combination of basically drawing and stretching operation, but both are forming operations. So it will not be at the combined time. Stresses on the deep drawing, there are two kinds of stresses. In the flange of blank, there will be biaxial tension and compression. In wall of the cup, there is a simple uniaxial tension. Then deep drawability. This is an important ratio that you must understand. You have to use this ratio in some of the numericals. The ratio of maximum blank diameter to the diameter of the cup. Okay, you have to consider maximum diameter of the blank divided by diameter of the cup. So the small capital D minus divided by a small d, that is drawability ratio. There is a limiting drawing ratio, LDR, that we call, after which the punch will pierce a hole in a blank instead of drawing. Understood? So there is a earlier ratio, but there is a limiting factor. I mean, the last ratio at which what is happening, instead of drawing the drawing operation by the punch is actually piercing hole. So we have to consider this ratio before the punching operation. Normally, just check it and go ahead. So this is the LDR. I mean the drawing ratio required, and LDR you have to check that there should not be piercing. This ratio depends upon material, amount of friction present. Are you listening? Am I connected? Am I still connected or disconnected? Somebody will reply. I'll wind up. Limiting drawing ratio LDR is 1.6, 2.9. Okay. So there may be I may myself create one equation. Draw LDR, drawing ratio for the operation is 8, whether it is drawing operation or punching operation or forming operation. So you must know LDR. It is it between 1.6 to 2.3 here. Then it is a drawing operation. It is okay. So otherwise, it may be difficult. You will get piercing. So limiting drawing ratio, the average reduction in the drawing. Here is the equation: d by d. It's a small d by capital D. Otherwise, drawing ratio is what? Capital D divided by small d. Okay? So it is 0.5. Average reduction in the drawing. So reduction is always calculated as 1 minus small d divided by capital D into 100. It's a percentage of reduction. And what's the thumb rule? Okay, the first draw reduction should be of 50%. Second draw reduction should be of 30%. Third draw 25%. Fourth draw is 16%, and fifth draw, that is 13%. We see in the first draw there has to be 50% reduction always, and then 30, and then 25. So first three draws are important, and then a small percent, let's say 15% almost in fourth and fifth. Okay, so this way there is a percentage reduction in this series of operations: the first draw, second, third, fourth. So this is an example: a symmetric cup of 80 mm diameter and 250 mm height is to be fabricated on the deep drawing die. How many drawing operations will be necessary if no intervening annealing is done? Okay, annealing is not done. You see, when drawing is happening, the metal is we are hitting it actually, so that there should be a sufficient ductility before deformation. So we are hitting this process is throughout hitting, in the hitting, but not too much, so that it will not disturb the working zone, hot working or cold working, not more than recreation temperature. Okay, otherwise it will go. It will be called as a hot drawing. So that we are considering. So annealing we are doing. So and also so here find out the drawing force. This is asked. So this also based on this concept you can solve and send me back. Now lubrication in drawing operation, the proper lubrication is essential to improve the dial life. Okay, this is very common, right? To reduce the drawing forces, reduce the temperature, and they improve the service. The last part we'll see defect in the drawings. So wrinkle. Okay. So wrinkle is like this. Like I said, wrinkle. So an inefficient blank holder pressure. Here blank holder will be there before the drawing operations, and as it is holding the strips, metal strips, there is a deformation. Okay. So pressure sometimes it is less, and that's why wrinkles are forming on the flanges. This is the flange. Okay, and which may also extend to the wall of the cup. So this is sometimes on the flange and sometimes on the wall of the cup. If the blank holding pressure is less, and that's why you have to calculate the blank holder force. Okay, so you will now come to know why this is important. All these equations. The defects in the drawing, let's say fracture. So fracture is like this. You can see in the image. Okay, too much blank holding pressure. See, interesting, no? Too much blank holding pressure and then friction may cause a thinning of the walls and a fracture at the flange. So fracture may occur like a wrinkle on the flange as well as on the wall of the component, but it is because of the too much blank holding pressure. So too much blank holder force. So that's why we need to consider a range. Okay, and in order to avoid this kind of defect. Now defect is next defect is earring. So earring is what? While drawing a rolled stock, ears or lobes, these are called ears or lobes, tend to occur because of the anisotropy induced by the rolling operation. So anisotropy will be always there. Okay. So normally anisotropy will be always there. You need to consider other forces to control it. Okay. So this kind of defects are called earring. Then miss strike. This is called miss strike. You got it. Okay, only this side there is a extra material, and this side there is no deformation. So due to the mismatch, misplacement of the stock, unsymmetrical flanges may result, and this defect is known as miss strike. Okay. Then orange peel. This is a kind of defect. Surface roughness you will see, and it looks like you might have observed the topography of orange external surface will be looking like this. So this is called orange peel. Stretcher strains like Luder's line. So this is because of the stretching. Okay, reduction section at the reduction section you will see this kind of stretch marks. Okay, those are nothing but because of shearing action. Those will be there. Low carbon steel and aluminium show more stretcher strains. Okay, stretcher strains. Sometimes only our body also, if we exercise heavy, there will be stretches, right? Similar strains, similar stretches will be here. Then surface scratches, the last defect you see. Die or punch not having smooth surface, insufficient lubrication, then this may occur. So this is a reference. Some of the figures I have taken from this reference. And study well. All the best. And hope you understand why it is important. I started manufacturing with the least important topic. The smallest syllabus to complete is the sheet metal. I started with this, but I say it's yet too much to be covered. Okay, we have missed the bending, then spinning, and then a few operations. So I hope you have noted down the numericals. You just send me the answers. your attendance link will be sent to you, and you just reply that. Sometimes feedback may be there. You just give some feedback. I wanted to incorporate a theory and numerical part here intentionally. You just give me feedback on WhatsApp if possible. What do you want? You want the theory only or numerical only in one lecture, or a combination? Let's say theory and then numericals. Then we'll solve numericals that way. Or right. But in that case, you should be with a calculator and a notebook and pen. Otherwise, there is no use of this kind of sessions. So all the best once again, and your link attendance link will be posted.